Hey everybody, this is True Disciple bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary. Today I am bringing you a best of 3 from the recent MLG that just happened in Dallas just this past weekend. And in this face-off we'll be watching Nadagast going up against ReSpOnSe. ReSpOnSe is spawning down here on Metalopolis on the lower portion of the map as the blue Protoss. And we have Nadagast spawning on the left portion of the map as the red Terran. Now these players are quite close to each other by air distance. These are the close spawning locations for an air rush, and the rush distance by land is also not that far, but is a bit further than if they were spawning in locations from the other side of the map as such. So, but that being said, a bit about these two players that are playing in this MLG tournament. I think that both of these names are quite well known. I think most people have heard the names Nada and ReSpOnSe if they've been playing or watching the pro games for any amount of time. They've probably heard references to these names. These are pretty big names, and their seeds within the tournament go to show that as well. Nada was seeded 9 from the last MLG, and ReSpOnSe seeded 24. So pretty high seed players, which is why I picked these. Also, I picked these games because no one has cast them yet, apparently. When I searched on YouTube, I could not find these games anywhere, and I'm definitely trying to cast some games from this that nobody has seen yet. Here we see ReSpOnSe saying, "I'm glad I know what's going on in the other game," and Nadagast saying, "Yeah, lol," and annoying. So I'm assuming they are playing in a live setting. For anybody who watched the MLG games that were live cast, it is a live setting, and when you're playing in a live setting, you're playing rows of computers, and you have cheering fans cheering for the game that's being live cast, and so of course oftentimes you hear what's going on in the other game. And so, of course, that can be annoying and disturbing for the players, but that is part of playing professionally, and players need to be prepared and need to do that. So, but here we see that, let's talk about these builds a little bit. Let's get into the game and see what's going on here. I'll bring up the production tab. We see that an orbital is going up for Nada, and we see that a tech lab is going down on his racks after he pumped out his first Marine. Standard build, it looks like he threw down that rack just at 12. Pretty normal. Here we see a pretty standard build for ReSpOnSe as well. He's getting up his cyber core, chrono boosting out those probes, so he's definitely going for an econ heavy build, at least at the beginning here. He might move into maybe a 4-gate, 2-gate robo, or try to get that fast expansion. We'll see what he decides to do. Meanwhile, I can't really tell anything about Nada's build. He is going for a Reaper, but this is a very late Reaper, so I'm assuming that this is just going to be for a little bit of scouting information. We see that a scout is already in ReSpOnSe's base for Nada, and he is checking that out. He is seeing that warp technology is being researched. I guess something else could be being researched, but at this point in the game, you got to assume, I mean, players, it's very rare that we see, like in beta, where people would research hallucination and go for that early Zealot sentry push, which was very popular during the beta, as those hallucinations were so powerful. You could just build a ton of extra Marines and look like you have this massive army when actually you have close to nothing, and then you can just use the sentries to do the damage from behind this meat shield of hallucinated Zealots. It is still pretty effective in the lower levels of gameplay. However, most pros, they kind of know what you can have and what you can't have with a 4-gate. So here we see this Reaper. It looks like ReSpOnSe has spotted him. He's going to try to do some damage to him, but the Reaper is able to get in. He is able to see what is going on in this base, and look at this. We see that a Nexus has gone down, and this Reaper, wow, awesome play by ReSpOnSe there, able to trap the Reaper with all of those probes. That was amazing, and I have to say, a not too good play by Nada. You definitely don't want to risk, especially in the pro level, you don't want to risk going through these minerals here, because probes can fight, they can surround, and they can path block other units, other than other probes or workers that are heading for minerals or Vespene gas, of course, as they ghost walk through everything. But you definitely don't want to walk through these mineral lines when you're with a scouting unit, with an attacking unit. You want to try to skirt behind the minerals here where you can't be cornered, especially with a Reaper that can jump up and down these cliffs and harass so effectively. So, but I think at the timing, if we look at the timing that ReSpOnSe went in here, and let's also look at this, there is a command center up for Nada as well, so Nada is not being outdone at all here. I don't think that Nada has seen ReSpOnSe's expansion yet, but he's got to know that it was coming up. When he came in here, there was only 1 gate still, and cybernetics core. And here he scouts it. Now he sees it. He confirms that it is there. Smartly, he came to this corner here, so he definitely was scouting to see it was there. He suspected that there would be an expansion there, and now he knows that he's up against a fast expansion as well. So both players going for a relatively fast expansion, and Nada's got to be feeling pretty comfortable right now. He's going to feel like, I've got my bunkers up, I've got my units here, I'm going to be able to defend this position for the moment. And we see that that Nada is, ReSpOnSe is going out, checking out the map, seeing what's going on, warping in some more units, and I love the placement of this pylon. It's exceptionally good at the beginning to spot units below it, like the occasional Reaper that might try to jump in and see what's going on. Well, excuse me, I thought I was about to sneeze there, but nothing came out. So, and here we see a little battle about to happen. We see beautiful placement of those force fields, separating Nada's troops there, and able to take out quite a few of them, losing, I think, 1 or 2 zealots of his own, but I definitely think that Nada fell a lot further behind from that attack than ReSpOnSe did. And stimming up, going to take out this extra zealot as well, and maybe evening things out. In fact, let's check the units. Let's check the loss tab real quick here and see what's going on there. So pretty, not even losses anymore. It looks like ReSpOnSe has lost more units, unit count, 800 worth, but look at these wonderful pylon placements, able to warp in some extra units. And let's check the production tab real quick and see what's going on there. We see Concussive Shell is being upgraded. We see that a medevac, 2 more Marauders, and a Marine are being pumped out, but this is a pretty heavy force coming from ReSpOnSe at this point in the game. And I don't know that if we check the army tab, we see that Nada is falling far behind on the army. ReSpOnSe has the superior army here, and he's just, he's pumped out. He's got 4 gates now, and he isn't trying to tech at all. And meanwhile, I guess that ReSpOnSe was, Nada was trying to go for some kind of tech here, and at this point he's fallen so far behind, I really don't think there's anything left he can do. And there is the GG indeed from Nada, and ReSpOnSe returning the GG, and Nada saying, "Did you 6-gate?" ReSpOnSe saying no, and Nada just saying, GG. So beaten there by a 4-gate, a nice timing push, and in the end, he was going for tech. He went for this starport. He was going to try to probably do some drop harass or maybe push with a heavy M&M kind of ball. He went for this 3 racks, and he was pulling up a 4th racks. I expect a 5th racks would have come up eventually there, but this 4-gate it was just a 4-gate off of 2 bases, and I can't believe that amazing play there. Not a surprise that he was able to get so many units in such a short amount of time without having 6 warp gates, but exceptionally good game by both players, and I'm looking forward to seeing the next game, so let's get right into it.